I really didn't expect to be stepping into hot water with this video, but you know what? A couple of things to say up front. Firstly, since this video went up and the patch has gone live, I have played and recorded numbers on 14 pig games. I'll go into what I gleaned from these games later on in the video, but also, after seeing the comments from both DrussNBubba and Jaysax, along with the additional community post about this video from DrussNBubba, I spent a bit of time watching videos that these two have made, both on pig in general and specifically relating to these changes. In hindsight, especially considering I've seen Druss in my recommended before this change went live, I probably should have done this before that first video, but hey, can't change what happens, so let's just move onward with this and get this video out of the way. So the first thing I want to say regarding my video is, upon rewatching it, I never clearly stated what I took issue with in the game that's showed there. So to make my stance perfectly clear, the thing I take the biggest issue with is the randomness that pig induces. This ace, what he did could be seen as fine if he gets lucky and gets the trap off, or based on the RNG he got, it kills him. Or in this clip from an on-stream game of Midwich, yes Midwich, so take that with a grain of salt, but this Sable, who literally never got hooked because she got saved by a Sabo play, ends up dead anyway because she doesn't get lucky in her search count. And I know there are points to be made about survivors taking optimal pathing between boxes, but the point I'm trying to make here is, you replay these games 10 different times, and based off of box spread and search count distribution between survivors, these games play out 10 different ways. And these two survivors have very different fates. As long as the pig has RNG baked into her kit that, maybe not as much at high levels, but definitely in the mid to lower levels, if you roll the dice wrong leads to straight up death, I don't see a world in which her chase ability can be meaningfully buffed, when it's just also attached to RNG murder. And yes, I know her RNG used to be a lot worse, but as long as there are random box spawns and randomly distributed number of searches to remove the trap, there will always be a baseline RNG baked into her kit. Which, on top of the already existing baseline RNG in map generation, tile generation, and all that stuff from Dead by Daylight in general, I don't like the addition of more RNG on top of that. Actually, at the end of his video, Jaysax proposes 2 potential changes to the pig that would actually make her a bit better, one of which I agree with wholeheartedly and would actually be where I would ideally want to push her.
Jigsaw box is visible. Keep the change to the RPTs of plus 30 seconds, but buff the ambush even more, and make sure pigs are confident they can down survivors quicker than before.
That, and also removing scream interactions from the boxes, because I think we all mostly agree that that is a stupid thing. I like this solution, primarily because it can help mitigate the randomness of the search count and box distribution. And I know there were comments and people having the sentiment of, it is hard to get head pops without the specific build for it. However, we're going to start going into the numbers for the games I collected, and there's some interesting things in here. As is probably easily discerned by my gameplay, pig is not my main. In fact, currently I wouldn't say I really main any of my streams I do on this. I just kind of randomly pick killers based on how I feel, so I don't really know where I'm sitting so far as MMR goes, so take your best guess at that one. So like I said at the beginning of the video, played 14 games both on and off stream. Not all of them I recorded, but I did write down numbers on all of them. 6 of these games were played with the same head pop build as I used in the previous video. I would have done more of these, but genuinely I'm running out of add-ons and blood points to keep this experimenting up. And the remaining 8 games were played with a build consisting of Pop Goes the Weasel, Nowhere to Hide, Hex Face the Darkness, and Hex Undying. I kept Hex Face the Darkness because I wanted to see if Screaming alone would be enough to force head pops. Spoiler alert, I don't think it made a single impact. I'm going to kind of gloss over the head pop games because nothing eventful happened. There was one game without a single head pop and averaging about 2 kills a game. But I'm going to discount a few of these because straight up half of these games also had either disconnects or people giving up. So take that as what you will. However, the more interesting stuff comes out of the games that were more ambush-centric add-ons and the other build. So, 8 games played. On average, there were about 2.375 kills a game, averaging out, obviously, not round numbers, but the more interesting thing is, half of these games still had head pops in them. Albeit, 2 of these were from endgame collapse, one of them the player was pretty much screwed either way, and the other one was this. Also, fun fact, I checked her profile, I'm pretty sure this Nancy had over 3,000 hours, so I'm not entirely sure what she's doing in the same lobby as both me and this Dwight, but you know, Thank you, matchmaking, very cool. I'll also say again, upon reviewing the footage of the Borgo game where I had a head pop, I don't think the screaming from Face the Darkness actually impacted anything, and sadly I did not actually record the game on Garden of Joy where a Leon got his head popped, but if I'm remembering correctly, he didn't scream from Face the Darkness either, so yeah, kind of a non-point on that one. So for the people saying it was hard to get head pops without a dedicated build for it, against people who know what they're doing, yeah, but those aren't the only people who exist. There's a reason Pig usually hovers around the top kill rates whenever those reports come out.
And ego aside, I'm probably part of a reason she's top 6 on the kill rate.
Okay, Druss existing probably doesn't hurt, but at the same time, not the point. And as I have neglected it until now, I'll bring up the point of Pig no longer being able to see her own boxes. It was a very big point between both Jay and Druss that being able to see the boxes allowed you easier access to leaving trapped survivors to find later, and removing the ability to see them, leading to more tunneling due to less options. I neglected this because it really didn't have much bearing on the point I was trying to make at the time, but now that we're here, I'll at least give it the mention of, yeah, I agree it's better to have more options than to just tunnel stuff off, but also, I feel like the effectiveness of tunneling and camping to an extent are bigger issues that affect the game as a whole, and I was trying to keep it condensed down to Pig, but I'll at least give it the mention here. I would honestly have rather seen visibility of boxes come back over the 30 seconds of timer being reverted, but hey, this is the timeline we live in, oh well. To sum up the point I want to be taken away from this, I would much rather Pig's power be shifted away from the RNG elements, hence why I'd want that 30 seconds added on to kind of mitigate the RNG, and put more into the chasing ability of the dash. Innately, I don't like excessive RNG in games, and Dead by Daylight already has enough of that in itself, and I would rather see the power be focused more on what is in the player's control versus the stuff that is innately affected by RNG. I'm not sure if this video makes it come off like I have a less terrible point, or hell, maybe even making my original take worse. I just wanted to explain more of what I'm coming from. If I miss anything that needs direct addressing, or if, you know, I've just had another terrible take here, just let me know in the comments, or I'll just look at the like to dislike ratio again. I at the very least hope this video conveys what I was trying to say better than the last video, which I admittedly cobbled together while tired, so yeah, I'm just hoping I come across as less of a rambly idiot this time around, because even myself, upon rewatching that old one, I struggled to find the exact point I was trying to make. But yeah, if you want stuff from higher level Pig players, the people I mentioned earlier in this video, specifically Druss, I know streams regularly, uploads relatively regularly, and I'm pretty sure he has more time on Pig than I do in the entire game. Fun fact, I've actually been playing this game since October of 2018, I just play it very on and off. And I am perfectly fine sitting in my little casual corner enjoying the game from this way. I'm honestly not even sure why I made that first video, but hey, every so often impulse takes hold, so even if this ends up being a bad take, I at least hope I have better justified it here than I did in the last video. Also, somehow I forgot to mention this throughout the entirety of the video, even buffed, the dash, it feels a lot smoother. It still basically may as well not exist in terms of ending chases quicker though. Don't know how I forgot to mention this during the entire video, but hey, better late than never to bring this up. Please feel free to buff it more.